Test. All right. Mic test. Can you hear me? All right. So, bought this mic. I'm testing it out. Mainly because I don't want to shout in public about AI like a like a crazy person. Because we're trying to be professionals here. Not that there's anything wrong with looking like a crazy person. It's probably good for some sort of viral purpose. You know, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to be professionals. This thing won't tuck in. Having a coffee. And I've tested this mic now on the recording, but I have no idea if it actually works on the live. So this may be a live that I might have to redo because I tried testing it out on the live, but the video took too long, and I've got to be somewhere in 30 minutes. So, la di da, we are on the live. Okay? So, I want to talk about a concept that's been in my mind. I've been wanting to kind of develop this idea, and it's the idea of being like water. And I know what you're thinking. Bruce Lee already did that, but Bruce Lee spoke about it in the sense of martial arts, which is, sure, and a philosophy of life too. But how does that apply to business? How does that apply to business? How can you be like water? How do you be like water in a business setting? And it's really quite simple. It's really quite simple, and it may not seem so simple because what are the properties of water? What are the properties of water, and why is that interesting? Right? Water can flow. It can crash. To quote Bruce Lee, it's the idea of being prepared, right? And where does preparedness come from? How does one become prepared? And why is it important to be prepared? I was watching something. I forget what it was, or I'm gatekeeping. I don't know. I was watching something, and I got the idea that I didn't get the idea, but it was bestowed upon me. I got the idea from a person, and it made me think of water. Right? It made me think of water, and the person said, "Who was it?" Oh yeah, it was Nick Cosman. It was Nick Cosman. I was watching his dynamic sales letter videos, and he said something. He said, "Business is constantly changing." He was talking about business post COVID, how everybody needs to streamline, and the businesses that survived were the ones that were streamlined and that could survive with everybody staying indoors, where everything was online. Those are the only businesses that did survive and actually did thrive in COVID. A lot of businesses that needed you to be in there in person had a lot of people suffered. Right? They didn't all die out, but they suffered, and that's a problem. That's a problem because it made us realize that we got comfortable. We got comfortable, and we thought it's like that scene from what's that video game with Voss? Far Cry? The Far Cry 3 is like when he's talking about the guy, like, look at you. There you were, flying, and then into the ground, right? I'm butchering it, but it's a really cool scene. Not a care in the world. but you realize that you are free falling, right? And you should have been prepared. You should have had a parachute, right? You should have came with a chopper in your pocket, right? What was it? Building a business is jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. No, it's jumping out of a plane and building the parachute mid-fall. Right? There's a quote I read on like a post or something. Right? So you have to understand that the effort of creating and managing and running and operating a business is incredibly high risk, and it takes a lot of effort, right? And you have to like. A lot of people think things are just done a certain way, right? Things are just done a certain way, and that's just not true. Like you can literally make anything work, right? You can make anything work, but why do an inferior way, right? Like think about it. It may not be a big deal right now, right? But there are far more efficient modes of doing business than there are available in the mainstream, right? You look at the private sector and it's amazing, right? And then like you look at the public sector, right? You look at things by the government and everything's old and it still works, right? It still works even though um, I can't say that about Dubai because Dubai is pretty good in that department, but like London, right? Or America, right? The public sector sucks, right? Everything's old. The government would rather spend money on things that are not to do with their people and more to do with foreign interests. And the people suffer because everything's slow and congested and bloated, and the system works. It definitely works, but it's slow, right? It's 2024 and we have slow systems in the most powerful governments in the world, right? Like you would think that if you go to those countries, things would be faster, life would be better, life would be easier, but it's not. It's not because people are not worried about the right things, right? It seems it is too expensive to make that transition, right? It feels as if, or it's like, oh no, it's too expensive to make that transition when it's not. It's not. A few lines of code and a few software changes, and the entire country would be better off. It's like the NHS, right? It's such an old and decrepit system, right? It sucks. The NHS, fucking, oh god, don't even get me started. It's like this old system that someone built and it sucked, and then someone built a system on top of it, and then they try to fix it, but they realized they couldn't because it was so massive that it would cost too much money to change, so they just built more on top of it and on top of it, right? It's like it's like I'm trying to think of an example. It's like instead of building a motorcycle, you try to add an engine to a bicycle, right? That's what it is. That's what a shitty system is like. You try to put something into an old thing, and sometimes it can work, right? Sometimes it can work, depending on the solution. Sometimes, like existing things can be improved radically by just tinkering it or adding a little bit of technology change or adding something on top, and it can work, but it doesn't always work, especially with software. When software doesn't merge well, it sucks, right? It's like forcing puzzle pieces together by, adding a separate puzzle piece in the middle, right? That, like, creating a merging piece in the middle between two puzzle pieces, and then when you look back, you can kind of see what the picture will look like because you've kind of combined two things, but you have to really step back. And the stepping back in that process is basically the equivalent of time spent computing. So it eventually leads to the requirement of more energy, and energy is the currency. So if you're not using energy, you're missing out. So okay, this time I'm doing this at a mall, and I'm starting to get looks. So fair warning. Probably gonna do this for another 15 minutes because I do have to go. But now we get to water, right? Water never changes, right? Water blends in with everything. It goes everywhere. It goes with everything. We love water. 70% of us is water, right? It's everywhere. And it's just so useful, right? It's so useful, and it's so. There's a word I'm looking for. Uh, it's so. It fits in everything. It fits in everything. It's all purpose, right? And it's prepared for everything, right? It's prepared for everything. That's water. So when I say do business like water, what I'm trying to say is the old systems are bloated. Do not do them. The only ones, like, yes, the systems work, businesses work. The only reason they work is because there are companies out there with enough capital to and enough, enough market share to keep it running above water and make a profit. Like, they're not in the water, they're above water, but the ship is big enough and it's functional enough. Like, they could build it. They built it when the stream was low, right? They built it when that process was the fastest it was, and now it's not. And you know, you have to understand that time now, business now, is moving faster than it was before. Like, old textbooks and their understanding of how business works is gone, right? It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. The markets change daily, by the minute, by the second. And you have to be like water, right? You cannot be a rock. Because when the wind blows, the water will flow, but the rock will crash. The water could also crash, but the water will just disperse and reform. The rock cannot. So you cannot be rigid. You have to be malleable. You have to be able to fit into any situation, right? Anything that happens, you have to be able to fit into it. Like, let's say, right, there's a lot of talk about war, right? The U.S. approved U.S. weapons in Ukraine to use against Russia, right? Okay, did anybody expect that? No. Can your business survive a potential war? Can your business survive a potential war? You know, if civilians are going to be dying, are you gonna are your workers going to get to work on time? Are they going to survive? Can you deliver on a deadline? Can you sleep at night? Right? So that's made people realize the situation of the world is so volatile. It's so volatile and so constantly changing and so unpredictable. I just said the same word 3 times in different ways. It's so unpredictable that you have to be prepared. right? The old systems don't work anymore. Things are moving too fast. There's COVID. There's what if hantavirus forms into something that's actually really spreadable? Because what if we get a COVID 2024? What if we what if anything happens, right? And there's no opinions on anything but the fact that when things like this happen, there is a public outcry, there is a reaction. Suddenly you have sides, left and right, top and bottom, whatever. The only thing that matters is, are you on the side that's green? Are you in the green? And content creation is what keeps you in the green, right? Content creation is is effectively the water of business, right? You can constantly change it, right? And companies have been doing this since the dawn of time. Whenever they need to rebrand, it's content that helps them, right? But if you want to swap like directions, if you want to change angles, if you want to test things out that other people are not testing, then you have to bring out water, water practices, right? What can you do that no one else can do, but you can do anything with? You on the camera, right? How difficult it how diff okay. How difficult is it to go live? Right? Technically, not very difficult. The equipment is cheap. If you're a business owner, the setup is dirt cheap. You look at me like crazy. This can't work because it's so cheap, or because there's not much into it. But it does. It will. Right? Every day I go live, I come up with a new angle. Right? Today's angle is a little different. Yesterday's angle was a little different. Tomorrow's angle will be a little different. Nothing tests more angles and pokes the market more than content. And the most effective way of doing that with content is to be live, right? This is market testing, right? So right now I have 0 people watching, right? So I'm going to make the point. I have 0 people watching, but what that shows me is, despite like what I'm saying is correct, right? I have no doubt in that. What I'm saying is correct. But the market isn't accepting the packaging of that, right? So tomorrow I package it a little bit differently until the market accepts, right? Because what I'm saying is definitely of value. But if the market doesn't accept it, if the market doesn't accept it, then what's the point, right? Because markets change so radically every day, and because of AI, like what's useful now or isn't useful now is incredibly dependent on the next iteration of ChatGPT or any other product of OpenAI, right? What happens when Sora AI becomes available to the public, right? The entire creative industry changes forever, right? And in that market, what works, right? Is that you could have the most valuable thing in the world, but if you're not packaging it right, then nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to buy it because the packaging is off. And because things move so radically in this day and age, you have to be willing to test the market in more ways than your competitors are testing. And that's the way to get above the competition. right? Because it's nothing until the market accepts it. It's not a business. It's not valuable until someone is willing to buy. It's not valuable until someone is willing to buy. And if you package it correctly, people will buy it. If you package it the way it solves people's problems, they will buy. Do you understand that? See, coffee isn't a bitter beverage. Coffee is an energy giver, right? Wakes you up in the morning. It's the hot smell, right? Everything's packaged a certain way, right? Like a chair is a chair, but if you make a chair a certain way, then it's suddenly a blue chair. And someone who likes the color blue will want a chair that's blue. Rudimentary example, I know, but I hope I'm making sense. Do you get it? And the thing about businesses, a lot of businesses just have like a singular angle, right? They try to make a product for what they think the market wants. And this is straight up Nick Cosmonology over here, right? That guy's that guy's a genius. Moving on. Enough glazing. Most businesses just focus on one thing, right? A lot like people don't understand sales in the market, right? Your product is nothing unless the market wants it. It's garbage, it's useless. But if the market wants something and you can give that to them, then you're in the green, right? And in times of turmoil, in times of deficit, the one who tests the market the most will win. And that is true for thriving markets and troublesome markets. It's just the way it works. And because things are so fast moving, you have to be willing to risk failure of marketing. Right? You will fail 99 times in marketing, and what you'll end up finding is that you've tested more angles than your competitors, and therefore, what you will find from testing so much will give you unique insight into how the market works, right? What is important to people in certain industries? What is important to people in your niche? Right? That kind of insight money can't buy. Well, unless they buy it from you. Right? That comes after testing the market. That comes after living in the market, knowing exactly who you're talking to, poking and prodding, knowing their issues. And when you say a single sentence that comes out of your mouth, they're listening because you know exactly what they want. And that comes from testing. Right? You become water. You're already inside them. Pause. Do you get it? And that's the beauty of it. I should make a short on this. I want to start making like highly educational like content about like this stuff. 'Cause this is like incredibly valuable, but I think my issue now is packaging. Like I have something of value now. I just need to package it right and give it and make sure I'm targeting the right people. So bit of a research phase, bit of a phase, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Just need to understand the market more. Just need to test more. Like I've been doing this for 32 days, and yeah, just need to test more. There's nothing else to it. Just keep testing the market, and then when the market shows you what they want, you respond like with a product. The market responds with what they want, and you respond to the market with a product. and then you make money. That's all it is. Simple as. Okay. All right. Now I got stuff to do. I'm definitely, because of this mic situation, I'm so happy. But I'm gonna be back today again because this is kind of very useful. But also, I'm gonna have to test whether this live was audible because I have no idea. I have no idea if it was, but I might go live on Insta. I might go live on Insta. I think I want to start doing lives on Insta as well. I want to start doing lives on Insta because Insta has more virality metrics. Like it's so much easier to share on Insta, right? Like on YouTube, the way to sharing is you click the button and then you get the link and then you click the. Either you get the link and copy paste, or you just click the app and it opens the app up, and then you have to press. With Insta, it's just like click the button, choose the person, select accept, and that's it. So, testing the market, seeing where the people are. Only issue is Instagram is a bit of a meme culture, and YouTube, it's still meme culture, but it's a little more serious because it's not a social media. Like you have a comments function, but it's not a social media the way Instagram is, where you can send DMs. So it's a little different. So yeah, okay, 12:16. I have to go, and I'll be back today. I might do another live on this. I might do another live on Insta as well. I don't know. I'm feeling very good about this mic, and I'm like this was like one of the main things that was stopping me. So Mo Confidential is a happy camper, and also I found a new place, and they gave me the staff Wi-Fi, which I am not sharing with anyone. Don't ask. Cool. This was fun. I forgot to say we are alive. Did I say it? I don't remember, but I'm going to say it anyway. We are alive. Okay? We're alive. Or so we were. So be good. Do good things. And subscribe, and good things happen. I'm going to check the audio of this, and if it's not good, I am going to try and solve that. Or maybe, like, it's probably, like, really, like, bad sounding if I, like, go to it. Like, the breathing probably messes with it, so. But, like, even sitting like this, it's kind of weird. Like, people are watching me. They're like, what's this guy talking into? Okay, well, this was fun. I'll speak to you guys later. All 0 of you. But the people that watch it, I usually get like 5 to 7, sometimes 10 people watching, so. Where my day oneers at? Where my day oneers at? Because we're going to the moon, baby. We're going to the moon. And you know what's funny? There's water on the moon. What mic drop moment? I'm not going to drop it. All right. Subscribe and get things happen. I'll see you in a little bit. Later.